I'm Leah Walker, 27, and the night my sister threw the biggest birthday party our town had ever seen, I wasn't invited. While she danced under yacht lights and camera flashes, I sat at home, scrolling through her perfect life like it was a movie I didn't belong in. 2 days later, she sent me a message, not an apology, but a bill for $23,900. That text was the spark that burned her golden image to the ground. The video played on every screen before I could even blink, slow-motion shots of champagne exploding into glitter, waves crashing against the yacht's bow, and my sister, Chloe, laughing beneath a cascade of golden confetti. The caption read, "The most unforgettable 20-second ever #Golden Girl #Dream Life," and it already had 200,000 likes by the time I saw it. I watched it from my apartment, the faint hum of my refrigerator the only sound keeping me company. Chloe's voice echoed from my phone speaker, that high, honey-smooth tone she'd perfected over years of playing the perfect daughter, the flawless influencer. She looked ethereal in her sequin dress, surrounded by her glossy-haired friends and a skyline of flashing lights. But the one thing she didn't show her followers was that she hadn't invited her own sister. Not a message. Not a call. Not even a pity text. The night of her party, I had been sitting cross-legged on my couch, half watching some true crime rerun, when my mother's photo lit up my phone. I hesitated before answering because with my family, every conversation felt like stepping into a minefield. "She just looks so happy," Mom had said, her voice drenched in pride. "You saw the photos?" I had. Everyone had. The entire city seemed to. "She deserves it," I'd replied simply, keeping my tone even. There was no point in showing that sting, that familiar ache that came from being the one who was always slightly less shiny, slightly less seen. My name's Leah, and I'm the older sister, the one who doesn't post her life for validation, who works behind a desk at a small design firm downtown. The one who's always been introduced as Chloe's sister, never the other way around. So when that video went viral, I wasn't surprised. What did surprise me came 2 days later. It was a Tuesday morning, pale sunlight cutting through my blinds as I opened my laptop to check emails. My phone buzzed with a message from Chloe. For a brief second, a small, naive part of me thought she might be reaching out to apologize, maybe even to make peace. But the message was short. Cold. "Hey, you owe me $23,900. Family helps family. I'll send you the invoice." I stared at the text, my coffee going cold. At first, I thought it was a joke. Chloe had always been dramatic, but she'd never crossed into delusion, not this deep. Then the notification popped again, an email attachment with a breakdown of shared expenses from the party. Venue deposit, catering, yacht rental, DJ fees, floral arrangements, all under my name. My name. At the bottom, bold and highlighted, was my business name, Leah Design Company, listed as the billing entity for every charge. That's when my chest tightened. I scrolled through the documents, each one more impossible than the last. My digital signature, copied perfectly. My business logo pasted on a contract I'd never seen. The email ended with, "You can wire the payment directly. Don't make this complicated. Love you." I didn't reply. Instead, I went very still. The kind of stillness that comes before a storm. For the next few days, I heard nothing more from her. Then, the calls started. Unknown numbers lighting up my phone, one after another. The first was a catering company, polite but firm. They wanted confirmation of payment. The next was a luxury event planner, demanding final settlement. Then the bank, my bank, calling to verify a line of credit extension request that I hadn't made. That's when it all clicked. Chloe hadn't just used my name as a joke. She'd used my identity, my pre-approved credit, to finance her entire fantasy. The yachts, the decor, the $1,000 champagne bottles. Every piece of her perfect party had been built on stolen paper, mine. And then, as if she'd done me a favor, she had the audacity to send me the bill. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, the glow of my laptop the only light in the room. The contracts were all there, sitting like ghosts in my inbox. My cursor hovered over Chloe's number, but I didn't call her. I didn't text her. I didn't even breathe her name aloud. Because suddenly, something inside me shifted. For years, I'd been the quiet one. The one who kept family peace while she bathed in attention. The one who watched her climb over everyone, even me, with that polished smile. But this time, she'd crossed a line she couldn't Photoshop away. So I waited. 2 days later, I got another call, this time from a detective. A fraud report had been filed by one of the vendors. Someone had flagged inconsistencies in the billing, and my name had come up. They needed me to confirm if I'd authorized those payments. No, I said simply. I didn't. The detective's voice was calm but curious. Then it looks like someone used your information, Ms. Walker. We'll need to ask a few more questions. Within a week, the dominoes began to fall. The vendors, desperate for answers, started reaching out publicly. Comments flooded Chloe's latest posts, questions about unpaid bills, screenshots of overdue invoices, whispers of fraud. Her followers began to speculate. Her sponsors began to hesitate. The flawless image she'd built, post by post, started cracking, tiny fractures that spread faster than she could patch them. I never said a word. Mom called again, this time panicked. Leah, what's happening? Chloe's in trouble. People are saying awful things online. She swears she didn't mean to. She did, I said quietly. She knew exactly what she was doing. There was silence on the other end, followed by a shaky sigh. You two are sisters. You should talk. But what could I possibly say? That she'd finally shown the world who she really was? That the truth she'd buried under filters and fake smiles had finally caught up? Instead, I stayed silent. The next morning, Chloe showed up at my door, mascara smudged, her designer jacket hanging off one shoulder like she'd sprinted straight from a meltdown. She looked smaller somehow, her usual confidence flickering. Leah, she breathed, her voice breaking. I didn't think it would get this bad. I thought I could fix it before anyone found out. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. By framing me? Her lips trembled. It wasn't supposed to be like that. I needed to prove something. Everyone expects so much from me. Then you should have paid for it yourself. Her eyes filled, but there was no apology in them. Just desperation, the kind that comes when someone's entire world starts to collapse. They're saying I could lose my sponsorships, she whispered. The bank froze my account. People think I'm a fraud. I finished for her, my tone even. Because you are. For a second, the mask cracked completely. The golden girl was gone. In her place stood someone real, frightened, flawed, cornered. You could fix this, she said suddenly, grabbing my arm. Just tell them it was a misunderstanding. You're my sister, Leah. Please. I pulled away. Family helps family, right? Her expression faltered. And then I shut the door. Behind it, I could hear her sobbing softly, the sound fading as she walked down the hall. I didn't chase after her. I didn't delete the evidence. I didn't protect her this time. Because some lessons aren't learned through comfort, they're learned through consequences. By the end of that week, the police had opened an investigation. Her sponsors cut ties. Her golden girl account went silent. The world that once adored her now tore her apart, piece by piece, in the same comment sections that had once worshipped her. And me? I went to work as usual. Answered my emails. Finished my designs. Lived my life quietly, like I always had. When Mom called again, she sounded broken. She's devastated, Leah. Everyone's turned their back on her. I didn't, I said. She did that herself. It had been 3 weeks since Chloe's empire began to crumble. Her name was all over the local blogs, influencer under investigation, golden girl turns tarnished. Every post dissected her downfall like vultures around a carcass. Her sponsors dropped her one after another. The same brands that used to flood her inbox with free products now ghosted her. The city that once worshipped her selfies now whispered behind her back. I didn't look for updates, but they found me anyway. People sent me links, coworkers talked in hushed tones, and Mom kept calling, her voice shaky, pleading for me to help fix this before it ruins Chloe's life. The truth was, it already had. One afternoon, I left work early and walked through downtown. The fall air was crisp, the streets noisy with traffic. I passed a cafe where Chloe used to host her meet and greets. Now the owner had taken down the framed photo of her that once hung behind the counter. It was a small thing, but it felt like the world was quietly rewriting her existence. When I got home, a package was sitting on my doorstep. No note, no return address. Inside was a flash drive. I almost threw it away, thinking it was junk mail. But something in me hesitated. I plugged it into my laptop. A single video file popped up. The title read, "You Win." The clip opened with Chloe sitting in a dim room. Her hair was unbrushed, eyes red and hollow. Behind her, half-packed boxes filled the frame. "Leah," she said, voice unsteady. "I guess you're not answering me anymore, so here's your victory speech. You got what you wanted. Everyone hates me. Sponsors gone, followers gone, friends gone. You didn't even have to say anything, just waited for me to self-destruct." She paused, wiping her face. "You're probably proud. You shouldn't be." I didn't move. She leaned closer to the camera. "You always thought I was fake. Maybe I was. But at least I tried to make something of myself. You just sit behind your computer, designing logos no one remembers. You think silence makes you better? It doesn't. It just makes you empty." Her tone hardened, anger seeping through the cracks of exhaustion. "I made one mistake, Leah. One. And you stood there and watched me burn." The video ended with her whispering, "You'll regret this." I ejected the drive and set it on the counter, but the words lingered. Not because I believed them, but because something in her eyes didn't look like anger. It looked like surrender. 2 nights later, Mom called again. "She's not answering my calls," she said, voice trembling. "She left her apartment. Nobody's seen her since yesterday." My pulse quickened. "Did she say where she was going?" "No, but she's not herself, Leah. She said she needed to clear her name, that everyone turned against her. Please, just talk to her if she reaches out." After we hung up, I stared at my phone for a long time. The silence between us had once felt satisfying, like justice served cold. But now it pressed down heavier than I expected. I told myself it wasn't my problem, that she'd made her bed. Yet every sound in my apartment felt louder, every shadow sharper. The next morning, as I walked into work, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I almost ignored it until I saw the text, "You'll see soon enough. Love, C." An hour later, my boss called me into her office. Her face was tight, her words careful. "Leah, we received some concerning emails from clients this morning claiming you misused company accounts." My stomach dropped. "What?" She turned her monitor toward me. On the screen were screenshots of messages supposedly sent from my address, requests for payments, forged signatures, invoices tied to fake projects. Every detail was perfect, down to the formatting I used at work. "This doesn't look like a coincidence," she said gently. "The bank has also reached out to verify your business credentials. Something's going on." I could already guess what. Chloe had always been impulsive, but this was deliberate. She wasn't trying to apologize anymore. She was trying to drag me into the same fire she'd fallen into. I spent the next few hours with IT, proving the messages hadn't come from me. When I left the office, the sun had already set. My reflection in the building's glass looked different, not calm, not collected, just tired. When I got home, the door to my apartment was slightly open. My heart jumped. I pushed it slowly, every sound amplified. The lights were off, but I heard movement inside, faint, nervous, like someone pacing. "Chloe?" I called. Her voice came from the dark. "You ruined me." She stepped into the light from the hallway. Her hair was tangled, eyes wide, hands trembling. The golden sister was gone completely. "I told you not to ignore me," she said, her tone uneven. "I lost everything. And you're still here, acting like none of this touches you." "You used my name, my accounts, my credit," I said, keeping my voice steady. "You did this to yourself." "You could have stopped it," she snapped. "You could have told the police it was a misunderstanding. And lie for you?" She laughed, a sound too sharp to be sane. "You always think you're so righteous. You think being quiet makes you strong. But you're just cruel, Leah." I didn't respond. I just stared at her, this stranger wearing my sister's face. Then she held up her phone. If I go down, you're coming with me. I've already sent emails under your name. If they think you were part of it, maybe you'll finally know what it feels like to lose everything." The air between us felt thick. I stepped closer. "You're playing with fire." She tilted her head, smiling faintly. "You taught me how." Before I could answer, she turned and walked out, just like that, leaving the door open behind her. That night, I barely slept. I called the detective the next morning, explaining everything: the emails, the threats, the break-in. They said they'd add it to the case file, but their tone carried hesitation. "If she's escalating," the detective said, "you might want to stay somewhere else for a while." I packed a bag and went to stay with a friend across town. But even there, I couldn't escape it. Notifications from social media popped up nonstop. Someone had leaked my email address, accusing me of setting up Chloe. Her followers, the few still loyal, started sending threats. I didn't respond to any of them. Days blurred together after that. Chloe vanished again. Police couldn't locate her. Her phone went dark, and Mom called daily asking if I'd heard anything. Every time, my answer was the same: no. Until one morning, a notification appeared on my phone. A live stream. Chloe's account. The thumbnail showed her standing on a rooftop parking deck, the skyline hazy behind her. I froze. My hands trembled as I clicked it. She was breathing hard, wind blowing through her hair. "You all wanted a show," she said to the camera. "You wanted to watch me fall. So here I am." "Chloe, stop," I whispered, even though she couldn't hear me. Then she looked straight into the lens. "Leah, I know you're watching. You got your silence. Now it's my turn." The screen glitched, then went black. For a second, I couldn't move. Then the comments started flooding in, panicked, chaotic. Someone had already called 911. I grabbed my keys and ran. When I got to the parking deck, flashing lights filled the air. Police, paramedics, bystanders. My chest felt hollow as I pushed through the crowd. But when I reached the edge, there was nothing, just her phone, lying face down on the concrete, screen cracked. An officer stopped me before I could step closer. "Ma'am, we can't let anyone through." "Is she?" I couldn't finish the sentence. He looked at me, then away. "We're still searching." The news broke the next morning. Local influencer hospitalized after rooftop incident. The headline read. The article said Chloe had been found unconscious, but alive, pulled from a lower landing by emergency responders. No lasting injuries, just a concussion and shock. The city moved on by lunchtime. The internet did what it always does, devoured her story, and then forgot her. Mom called me in tears. "She's asking for you," she said. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Another part, the one still tethered to the girl I used to build blanket forts with, told me to go. So I did. The hospital was quiet, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. When I stepped into her room, Chloe looked nothing like the person I'd known. The makeup was gone. Her face was pale, her hair tied back loosely, eyes raw from crying. For once, there were no cameras, no filters, no audience, just her. She looked up when I entered. "You came." I nodded. "Mom said you wanted to talk." "I didn't think you would." I almost didn't. Silence stretched between us, heavy but different this time. Not filled with blame, just exhaustion. Finally, she spoke. "They said I might have to face charges. Fraud, falsifying documents, misuse of credit." Her voice cracked. "I didn't think it would go that far. I just wanted to keep up with everything. The parties, the image, the pressure, it never stopped. Everyone expected perfection, and I thought if I could just throw that one party, it would all finally feel real. You used me to make it happen." "I know." She swallowed hard. "And when everything started falling apart, I panicked. I wanted to fix it before you told anyone, but then it was too late. I thought if I dragged you down, maybe we'd both lose, and that would make it easier." I let her words settle. She wasn't making excuses anymore. She was admitting the truth. "What do you want from me now?" I asked. Her eyes met mine. Forgiveness. Or at least, a chance to make it right. I leaned against the foot of the bed, studying her. "You can't erase what you did, Chloe. You hurt me, our family, your clients, everyone who trusted you. Forgiveness doesn't fix that." She looked down. "I don't expect you to forget. but I can't live knowing I broke everything for nothing." There was sincerity in her voice, fragile but real. For the first time, she sounded like the little sister who used to follow me around, asking for help with her homework, begging to borrow my clothes. Somewhere along the way, the spotlight had swallowed that version of her whole. I sighed quietly. You have to own what you did. Tell the truth. No spin, no sympathy plays, no dramatic posts. Just honesty. Her eyes filled with tears. And if I do, then maybe one day I'll be able to forgive you. She nodded slowly, understanding what I wasn't saying, that forgiveness wasn't a gift, it was something she'd have to earn. Over the next few weeks, things moved quickly. Chloe's legal case became public record. She cooperated fully, admitted everything, paid back what she could. The vendors dropped most of their claims once restitution started. The charges were reduced, and she avoided jail time, but her career was gone. The Golden Girl name disappeared from the internet. Her followers scattered, her sponsors scrubbed her from their pages, and the mansion apartment she'd once flaunted online was sold to cover debts. I thought that would be the end of it, but endings rarely come cleanly. A month later, I got a handwritten letter in my mailbox. No signature, but I recognized the handwriting instantly. Leah, I know I don't deserve another chance, but I'm taking one anyway. I'm leaving town for a while. I need to figure out who I am when no one's watching. You don't have to write back. Just know that I'm sorry. Not for what happened to me, for what I did to you. You didn't destroy me. I destroyed myself. Thank you for your silence. It taught me more than your words ever could. See, I stood there for a long time after reading it. The wind rustled through the mailbox, carrying away the last sound of her name. Months passed. Life steadied. Work picked up again. The chaos faded into something quieter. Not peace exactly, but acceptance. Sometimes people walked into your life like storms and left like ghosts, and all you could do was stand still until the air cleared. One evening, I was walking home when I passed a small art gallery near the corner. A poster on the window caught my eye. New exhibition, Unfiltered Faces. The featured artist's name was written below in small, simple font. Chloe Walker. Inside, the gallery was warm, the walls lined with photographs, raw, unedited portraits of everyday people. No filters, no perfect angles. Just truth. One photo stopped me cold. It was of two young girls sitting side by side, holding hands, smiling with missing teeth. A caption underneath read, "Before the noise." I didn't need to ask where she'd gotten it. I knew that smile, that summer dress, that sunburn on my shoulder. For a long moment, I just stood there. The resentment that had once felt so sharp now felt dull, like an old scar that no longer hurt, just reminded you where you'd been.